This is Waymon Brown, creator of the EsquireProject.com, where black men eliminate barriers to personal achievement. I want to welcome everybody to my first video on YouTube. A special thanks to everybody that helped me to launch this channel by subscribing to me through my most recent interview with O'Shea Duke Jackson. And a special shout out to O'Shea for connecting me to the audience of the Black Manosphere on YouTube. Salute to you. Now, this channel, it'll have content that helps black men with self-development. It's a complement to my blog, the EsquireProject.com, which focuses on helping the self-enterprising black man to design a rewarding lifestyle for himself. Be sure to check out the links in the description. Feel free to touch base or show your support. It's all appreciated. One love. Now let's get into what you came here for today. This first video is entitled The 10 Commandments of Not Falling for Women, for black men on the move. As a black man on the come up, who's working hard in the trenches, who's navigating through his journey of success and crafting yourself into being a better man, you're definitely bound to be met by some bumps in the road. And one of the most common is going to be in your encounters with women along the way. When men deal with women, women will typically have two very specific effects on men. Either one, they'll end up being an incentive to you in some way, or two, they'll be a distraction to you. Usually it's a little bit of both. So while you're on your journey, really it should be expected that you will stumble across at least one woman who can end up throwing you off track, where you end up sacrificing possibly your wisdom out of longing for her companionship, her attention, and her sexual partnership. So this video is particularly to help the single men out there who are on the come up, who want to deal with women, but they want to do so on their own terms, meaning that they don't want to get caught up in women. They don't look for women to complete them in any sort of a way. And they understand the prudence in regulating their dealings with women. And one of the best ways to do that is basically to set boundaries when you're dealing with women. Now, speaking for myself, I can tell you that some things are best learned through experience. But I can also tell you that I'm at a point in my life where I welcome all experiences because I want to see where they take me on the journey of life. But if somebody could save me some trouble in an area that could help me to avoid some costly mistakes and lessons, then I'll definitely lend an ear. So, gentlemen, what I want to share with you are 10 things that I would tell my own self all over again when it comes to having romantic dealings with women. These are my 10 commandments of not falling for women. Commandment number 1. Do not neglect designing your life ahead of time. Now, as a rule of thumb, you should make it a goal, I believe, to plan your life out for at least 1 to 3 months ahead of time. And if you can, aim for being able to account for roughly about 80% of your non-sleeping time ahead of time. Because one of the biggest reasons that men find themselves falling for women is that they don't have their lives well organized before a woman comes into the picture. And women aside, you should already have an agenda for your own self as a man anyway. The main reason is that you have to recognize that your value as a black man of self-investment means that your network, your community, and the world at large gets better as you get better. And you have so many things to offer and to share with this world, and it would be a real shame to just see yourself rot away and decay for being the man that you're less than capable of being. So it's wise to just take time to yourself. Set your life up ahead of time before you give any woman any serious regular time or attention. I'm going to basically tell you like this. Avoiding the trap of falling for a woman, it starts with your own self-discipline and being the captain of your own life. So I would encourage you to take a few months off, take a year off or more if necessary, just to get your life organized, which can include no dating whatsoever, even casually, and even no sex if necessary. Yes, no dating if necessary and no sex for you to get your life in order. Now, When you do actually meet a woman that you find worthy of your time, that you want to get to know better, or women that you want to get to know better, after you prioritize your life's work, don't adjust your lifestyle for her. Now, what I mean by this is whatever time that you've already allocated to her, give her that time. Be there, be in the moment, be present, but you don't alter your life and general routine for a woman. Don't allow a woman to guilt you into having a rigid schedule or about not being as available as she would like you to be. You can't negotiate with women on things like this, or really, to me, with too much of anything. And when she complains, this is when you might be inclined to take your foot off the pedal out of fear of losing a connection with her. But you can't fall for it. And here's the real kicker, gentlemen. Even if you make time for her, she can walk out of your life at any moment and you'll have made the sacrifice of getting off your game all for nothing. Keep this in mind. If you don't have a plan for your life, a woman will make a plan for your life. And this is when your diplomacy will begin to backfire. Because what will happen is she'll basically try to keep you around until she figures out what to do with you. And you'll just be one of the men that she's trying to compartmentalize in her life as she attempts to figure out where to place you. Which dude does she want you to be? That's why you can't fall for it. You already have to have a plan for yourself. You have to be on your grind already. You have to be focused on definite agendas for your life. And you can't let a woman throw you off track. You stay the course or you will get derailed. Commandment number 2, do not communicate with her every day. Now, when you meet a woman that you really hit it off with, it's normal to want to talk to her regularly because you want to keep it going. Especially if it's one of those rare instances where you got really good chemistry and it's like, man, I haven't really ran across nothing like this in years. So you don't want it to die off. But what happens is you can start to feel unsure if you'll even run across another connection like that again. This is the thing, guys. If this is your rationale, you're already in the danger zone, even if you don't talk to her every day, because you're already operating from a place of scarcity, which is the breeding ground for low confidence and fear of loss. Low confidence and fear of loss for men is a two-headed monster of his own collapse when dealing with women. On the dating scene, whether you're talking about casually or seriously dating, in my estimation, you shouldn't even be dealing with a woman that you can't see yourself without. Now, unfortunately, the more that you talk to her, the more you enable yourself to become used to her, and the more you start to long for her emotionally. And this is where you'll find yourself making allowances for things that you shouldn't even tolerate from her, and making compromises for her that she isn't worthy of. All because you will feel that you need her in your life because of how accustomed you become to having her in it so much. Again, this is the danger zone for men. I understand that you might be really into her, but you simply cannot allow a woman to dominate space inside of your mind. And when she starts communicating with you infrequently, playing the games that they often play, or just stops communicating with you altogether, then you'll find yourself struggling to put the pieces to the puzzle together, trying to figure out what in the hell happened. What happened is simple. She changed her mind about you. Just like that. Women are inclined to change their mind about a man like it's nothing. Just like they'll change their mind, generally speaking, about damn near everything. So as men, let me tell you what the whole key component is and the real focus on this entire video. You have to make sure that the emotional output that you expend on any woman is in proportion to your ability to get over her absence in a way that does not impede upon your pursuits, your peace of mind, or your quality of life. I'll repeat it. You have to make sure that the emotional output that you expend on any woman is in proportion to your ability to get over her absence in a way that does not impede upon your pursuits, your peace of mind, or your quality of life. So again, fellas, I know you are digging her. I know you feeling her, but you got to be wise. And avoiding daily communication with her goes a long way in that respect. So no daily texting, no calling her every day, messaging her, video chat, liking her pictures on social media. No can do. Not every day. Commandment number 3, do not allow yourself to become affected by her sexual and romantic choices, desires, or interests. This is a real tough one, fellas. Well, at least it can be until you get your mind right. Women like variety just as much as you do, if not more so than you, if not more so than the average man. And the thing is, a woman can really be into you. She can sincerely like you, maybe even like you more than other men, but she'll still have a wandering eye for other men based on factors like his height, how muscular he is, how handsome he is, his style, his status, the sexual energy that he thinks, or she thinks rather, that he can bring to her, among other things. A woman is curious. That same boy crazy spirit that she had in high school, she can now actually live up to the max in. She wants to know what other men are like. She wants attention from other men. She wants to fuck other men besides you. Now, if you manage to keep a distance from a woman emotionally, and you've already set limits on your contact with her, then you've done yourself a service for when she likely in some capacity ends up acting on her desires for another man in an intimate way. And sometimes the intimacy may mean that she finds herself getting more emotionally involved with the man more than sexually involved. Now, when you've invested a part of your heart and a good degree of your mind and your focus into her, this will likely come across as a violation of your connection with her. So this is what I would tell you. Honestly, especially in this day and age, it's best to just go into it dealing with any woman whom you're getting to know, especially when you're in the first few months, especially. You might as well go into it with the assumption that she's already sharing herself sexually with at least one other man. Or that she will be. Or that she's open to or planning to. Especially if she hasn't shared herself sexually with you yet. You should also go into it already assuming that there's at least one other man that has a place in her heart that she's checking for. Basically a backup. Whether it's the ex-boyfriend that's still around, that's now her BFF. Whether it's one of the guys that's connected to her on one of her social media accounts. Maybe she hasn't even had any sort of sexually explicit conversation with this guy, or even, anything overtly relationship oriented. There's something that's keeping her attention about at least one other guy. There's some sort of a guy that's a prospect in her mind. You need to understand that. You need to realize that she's open for business. Now, when you're living on your purpose, you have to have very high confidence in yourself. That's a key component to success. So her wants, when it comes to other men, her desires, her interests, and her acts, you can't let those things faze you. You have to have a standard in which you're going to deal with her based on her behavior, but you can't let it faze you. You can't let it get you fucked up. This is not the time for you to begin feeling inadequate in any way because of a woman's choices with whom she shares her body with, whom she shares her heart with, whom she shares her attention with. Because when it's all said and done, fellas, she doesn't belong to you anyway. Commandment number 4. Do not believe a word she says. For myself, I tell you one thing. Even when a woman is telling me the truth about something, I basically still consider it bullshit. Women, even in their most sincere moments, tend to give their word based on how they feel in those moments. Unlike men, they aren't really used to being held to having a sense of obligation to their word. I mean, just think about it, right? Like, how many times has a woman told you during sex that it's all yours and it's always going to be yours just for her to actually end up getting with some other dude? How many times has a woman, maybe whom you've even had some sort of platonic dealing with, told you that she's always going to be your friend, that she's always going to be down for you, just for her to turn around and drop you like a bad habit because she got a new boyfriend now? The thing is, as men, typically we're long-term thinkers. And if you end up buying into her words, you'll end up anticipating her being around over the long haul, and you'll forget about the temporal nature of relationships in general. So you can't put stock into what she says, even when she's telling you the truth. It's her truth at that time. So you can believe in her potential, but don't believe in her words. Commandment number 5, do not base your behavior on her behavior. A lot of women like to eventually play games with men just to see if they can somehow contain us and get us to operate in ways that they can predict. So they'll try to use different little things, on the slide, like, oh, I'm not even dating anybody else. Or, when these other guys, they text me, I don't even bother responding. Basically, she wants you to think that it's all about you. And she's doing this in order to get you to believe that you owe her the same allegiance in return. But not only is falling for this a violation of our commandment of not believing a word that she says, but she's also grooming you to she's trying to make you feel guilty about dealing with other women if you choose to. I always find it amazing how so many women can have such an entitled mentality in which they actually think that they deserve certain rights over you in parts of your life, even though they have nothing sacred to offer you. By the time they get to your time in life, very little has been preserved. Very little remains to be special and exclusive. In a woman's selfish games, if she's got a man where she really wants him, they'll end up tripping the guy up when he's into a woman. And she could be 1,000 miles away and still keep you on a short leash as a prisoner in your own daily living. You'll start to feel obligated to live your life based on the way that you believe that she's living hers when you fall for this trap. And just think about the despair that you're going to have when you figure out that all the while she was bullshitting you. You can't fear a woman walking away, because that's really what this is all about. Ultimatums, power, and control. You have to set the rules for how you are going to operate, and you have to make them known clearly. And if she doesn't agree to complying, then just like failing to get through the metal detector at the airport, she can't be permitted to walk through the gates of your life. Commandment number 6. Do not get comfortable interacting with only one woman. This commandment, kind of short and sweet. Basically, I'm encouraging you to put yourself in multiple networks where you can always meet other women easily. Now, you might have a few women that you want to keep in contact with a little bit more or spend more time with more regularly. And this isn't suggesting that you need to go out there and, try to have so many different women. You may choose that you only want to really deal with one woman, which is fine if that's what you choose to. But I'm telling you, don't get comfortable interacting with only one woman. In other words, don't stop yourself from meeting other women when you're a single man. So one of the easiest ways to do that is to join both formal and informal networks. Sometimes they're business professional. Sometimes they're interest groups. A lot of these can be found in your locale. You need to really kind of plan your social life anyway as you mature as a man. And don't forget about those different events that take place throughout the year, the ones that attract women by the droves. I remember one of my earliest business mentors said, when it comes to sales, you need to remember ABR. Always be recruiting. Always be recruiting. Never get comfortable with your roster. Never think that everything is all good, because you're going to have people who eventually fall off, people who lose interest, people who move on to other products and services. So you always have to be looking for new clientele, for new customer bases. And remember this too, whether you like it or not, a woman always has other men lined up, no matter what she says. You might as well go into it assuming that as well. And for damn sure, don't ever believe that it's all about you. Commandment number 7. Do not think that she is around to stay, and once she leaves, let her stay gone. A lot of times, women try to handle personal problems and conflicts by avoiding the confrontation of them. Have you ever had a woman that just kind of stopped talking to you when everything seemed like it was going cool? Or maybe even things seemed like they were kind of falling apart a little bit, and you tried to like piece it together and make sure that everything kind of stayed on course a little bit as best as you could. And then all of a sudden she just disappeared for weeks, for months, sometimes popping up even years later. And then when they do, they act like everything is just supposed to be normal between you and her, right? Now, when she does come back, she'll often try to use some sort of excuse because, of course, you want an explanation, right? Like, what the hell was going on? What was up? Why would you just drop me? Why would you just cut me off? And what she'll do is she'll usually say that she was dealing with some sort of issues or she was going through some things as a way to justify her disappearing act. And more than likely, this was the time that she spent exploring her options. She was out there doing her, or no, she was out there doing men, enjoying her sexual liberation, partaking in the attention of other men, dates, sex, whatever. And now she realizes that she can't find what she wanted out there. Or probably some shit went left. And now here she is trying to come back in your world. Now, if you let it happen, a woman will walk in and out of your life over and over and over and over again. And each time that you allow her back, she gets a constant reminder that she doesn't even have to respect your life. She's not considering if you have another lady in your life, is she? She's not even thinking about if you might be dealing with somebody else, or maybe even if it has nothing to do with the woman, if you're just at a different place yourself. Maybe you've just moved on in general from her. Now, if you had a strong connection with this woman, there's always probably going to be a chance that a part of you wants to try to keep the door open, to see if something can be fixed, to see if you can kind of patch things up. But this also is not wise. Because honestly, guys, there's nothing really to be fixed, because in some way, shape, or form, you know you can't really trust her anymore. And you know you also have some resentment towards her. And you know you're going to find yourself second guessing her. Because you don't appreciate her selfishness. You don't appreciate her lack of communicating effectively and expressing what's really up. And you can already see that she's not a loyal person. She's abused her stay already. Now, you might end up finding yourself in some situations where you cross paths with this woman or with these women. Maybe at work. Maybe you have similar acquaintances. Things like that. And I don't think that in and of itself there's anything wrong with just being cordial, kind of high and by. But keep it short and sweet at best. You don't want to try to open up that door again. I'm telling you now. You cannot accept her back into your mind or into your heart. So have some pride, have some dignity, and let her ass kick rocks. Commandment number 8. Do not try to make yourself comfortable with her secrets. Now, if a woman has too many secrets that make you uncomfortable about her past, or even things that are going on in her life right now, you really need to use caution. A lot of women have parts of their lives that they aren't really comfortable with, things that they aren't proud of that they've done, things that they wish that they could change. I believe that knowing a certain amount of things about a woman's past is very important. It's extremely important to know and understand, even if she finds them a bit difficult to share. But if you constantly find that she's closed off and elusive about parts of her life that she seems to want to try to live down or not be reminded of or just brush aside, you should really be using extreme caution. And in some cases, you might even conclude that you shouldn't even keep dealing with her at all. Because I can tell you this, even when you try to be as patient as possible, sometimes you could be patient for years. You could be as understanding as possible, as non-judgmental as possible. She still may not let you in on certain things out of fear of how she thinks that you might view her. And some of her shameful acts, she just doesn't want to acknowledge anymore. It's very important to know how her past might end up affecting your present and your future interactions. And you shouldn't try to force yourself with having a mind that's always racing in a state of anxiety or in this constant state of concern and uncertainty about her as a person. So commandment number 8, once again, gentlemen, do not try to make yourself comfortable with her secrets. Commandment number 9. Do not accept unacceptable behaviors. Every man needs to have things that he just won't tolerate from a woman. Now, my philosophy is this. I believe in having both a zero tolerance policy and a 2 warning policy. So certain things I won't go more than 2 warnings or 2 observations about, because I can see that there's an occurrence that's becoming a pattern. And patterns to me indicate habits. So I'll give you an example of some of my zero tolerance behaviors. Now listen, I don't give a damn how much I like her. I don't care if I've fallen in love with her. It doesn't make a difference. What if a woman was to ever call me a bitch ass nigga, anything like that, anything with the word bitch in it, it's over. Anything in which she might be attempting to emasculate me in any way, shape, or form is over. Right there on the spot for life. It's done. Another one, stealing. Damn shame if you find a chick and you realize that she's a thief. Third, as an example, would be drug use. I don't tolerate it. Period. Point blank. I give you some examples of my 2 warnings and she's out behaviors. Cursing at me in general, getting out of pocket, getting out of line, things like that. You know, one time is really enough, but I might say, you know what, if I check her on it and she don't do it again, we can put this behind us, depending on what's said. It happens twice, it's over. Telling little white lies, so to speak, that just goes to show her pattern of deception that's just around the corner. Or that she's already been on since she's been knowing you. And here's one that might be kind of interesting. Canceling on me. Yeah, canceling on me. We said Friday at 8, you agreed. Here it is Friday, it's 7:30. Oh, I can't because of this. Okay, one time, if it's a good enough excuse, I can understand. Perhaps I can understand. 2 times, now you're just playing with my time. No excuses, because you wouldn't do it under other circumstances You wouldn't do it if it was a celebrity that was coming to town that wanted to meet up with you. You wouldn't do it if there was something else that you valued that was really important. So why would you do it with me? Only because you don't look at me as being that important. So if I know you ain't thinking of me as being that important, for damn sure, I don't need to be prioritizing anything about you. So as a man, I'm telling you, you need to have a screening process when you're dealing with these women about things that you just won't tolerate. You got to set some hard rules and you got to live by them. And what's interesting is when you don't tolerate a lot from women, especially as a black man, because most women, in particular, our women a lot of times expect us to tolerate so much from them because most men will, because they want to get close to her, they want to hit. A lot of times she'll try to guilt you into thinking that you're giving up on her or that you're giving up too easy on the two of you. But you're not. You're setting a standard and you're living by it. And to be very frank, the only thing that you're really missing out on by dismissing her is her out-of-pocket ways being manifest to the max. So commandment number 9, do not accept unacceptable behaviors. Finally, this brings us to commandment number 10. Do not try to save her. When a woman has a bunch of chaos in her life and a bunch of drama, she'll end up making your life a lot worse before she can make it any better. Understand, gentlemen, her problems that she has, all the shit that you want to try to help her with, all the shit you want to try to help her fix, that was there long before you, and it'll remain there long after you're gone. Now, if you have a history like me of being a Captain Save-'em type, you'll actually believe that you can go out there, put on your cape, and you can make a difference and help a woman through her issues as you're getting to know her. I'm telling you now, don't even do it. It's not worth it. For one, you can't save her. Second, your efforts, even if you could save her, they'll likely be forgotten and unappreciated once she's on track. Third reason, at best, in most of these situations where women are dealing with a lot of issues, at best, you could basically be a support system in which she's also taking a professional or other healthy route to healing and recovery. And most women don't deal with things like that. They'll usually try to put a band-aid on a bullet wound and find themselves basically going through the same cycle. And fourth, basically, you'll just be creating an unnecessary headache for yourself that's going to end up diminishing your overall quality of life. So I know you care about her. I know you like her. I know you probably even love her at this point. But you cannot try to be her hero. It is so stupid for you to spend your life's work going through hell to try to help her get to heaven. And speaking of which, whether you're a Bible reader or not, the passages in the Proverbs that are contained therein have a lot of wisdom in them. I want to share with you two different scriptures. Stark contrast. The first, Proverbs 31:10. Who can find a good wife? For she is worth far more than rubies that make one rich. Proverbs 5:1-9, as I paraphrase. My son, pay attention to my wisdom. Bend your ear to what I know, so that you might remain discreet. The lips of a mysterious woman drip honey, and her tongue is smoother than oil, but in the end, she is bitter as gall, sharp as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps lead to the grave. She doesn't stay on the way of life. Her paths wander. but she doesn't know it. Listen to me and don't deviate from my words of my mouth. Stay on a path that is far from her. Don't approach the entrance to her house. Otherwise, you would give your strength to others, your years to a cruel person. My brothers, in your journey, when you're dealing with these women, keep your mind strong, your heart in check, and your actions under control. And may wisdom be with you. I want to thank everybody for checking out this first video on YouTube, one of several. Thank you in advance for bearing with me as I go through the growth of being a YouTuber. And again, big shout out to you for checking it out. Be sure to go ahead and drop your comments down below. I look forward to interacting with everybody. One love and peace out till next time.